Reliability is one of the most important things to consider when buying a car. After all, nobody wants to spend thousands of dollars on a vehicle that constantly breaks down, leaves you stranded, or racks up insane repair bills. While some cars are legendary for their durability, others have gained a reputation for being absolute nightmares. Whether it's constant engine failures, electrical gremlins, or cheap materials falling apart, some cars simply fail to stand the test of time. So, let's take a look at some of the most unreliable cars ever made. Vehicles that are better left in the scrapyard than in your garage. Land Rover Discovery 3 and 4, Off-Road King, Repair Shop Regular. If you've ever owned a Land Rover, you probably know two things. They're incredibly capable off-road, and they're ridiculously unreliable. The Land Rover Discovery 3 and 4 are prime examples of this. On the outside, they look rugged, luxurious, and ready for adventure. But under the hood, a mechanical disaster is waiting to happen. These SUVs are notorious for electrical issues, air suspension failures, and engine problems. The 3.0-liter diesel and 4.4-liter V8 engines are known to develop timing chain issues, and the air suspension system, which is amazing when it works, fails so often that it's a question of when rather than if. Owners frequently report faulty electronics, failing differentials, and leaking sunroofs. And if you think repairs are simple, think again. Everything in a Land Rover is complicated, expensive, and time-consuming to fix. Despite their reliability issues, Land Rover fans still love them because they offer unmatched off-road capability and luxury. But if you're not prepared for constant trips to the mechanic, you might want to steer clear of these beauties. Fiat Multipla, the car that's unreliable and ugly. The Fiat Multipla is one of the strangest looking cars ever made, but its unreliability might be even worse than its design. Built between 1998 and 2010, this Italian MPV, multi-purpose vehicle, tried to be practical, but it ended up being a mechanical disaster. One of the biggest issues with the Multipla is its poorly built electronics. Owners frequently complain about failing power windows, faulty sensors, and dashboard warning lights that come on for no reason. The gearbox is also known for wearing out quickly, and the suspension system deteriorates faster than you'd expect. And then there's the engine reliability, or lack thereof. The 1.9-liter diesel versions suffer from turbocharger failures, and oil leaks are common across all models. The cooling system is weak, leading to overheating issues, and the power steering pump has a tendency to fail at the worst possible time. Sure, the Fiat Multipla had a unique 6-seat layout, making it somewhat practical. But let's be honest, who cares about practicality when your car refuses to start half the time? Chrysler Sebring, the definition of cheaply made. If you asked a mechanic to name one of the worst cars to ever work on, there's a good chance the Chrysler Sebring would be on the list. Produced between 1995 and 2010, the Sebring had the looks of a budget-friendly sedan, but its mechanical reliability was a complete mess. First, let's talk about the engines. The 2.7-liter V6 was an absolute oil-burning nightmare. These engines were known for sludge buildup, which caused premature failure. If that wasn't enough, the timing chain tensioners would fail, often leading to catastrophic engine damage. Then there's the interior quality, which felt like Chrysler went shopping at the cheapest plastic store. Buttons and knobs broke easily, and electrical systems developed glitches faster than a bad software update. Owners often experienced power window failures, non-functioning gauges, and S/C systems that randomly stopped working. The Sebring was also infamous for terrible transmissions, leading to rough shifting, premature failure, and costly repairs. Bottom line, if you ever see one for sale, run the other way, unless you like spending your weekends fixing a car that should have never left the factory. Jaguar X-Type, when Ford and Jaguar made a mistake together. Jaguar has always been known for luxury, style, and unreliability. But when they decided to create the Jaguar X-Type, things went from bad to worse. Released in the early 2000s, the X-Type was supposed to be a luxury sedan that could compete with BMW and Mercedes. Instead, it became one of the most unreliable Jaguars ever built. Mechanically, the X-Type borrowed parts from Ford, but Jaguar still managed to mess things up. Owners reported constant transmission failures, electrical nightmares, and engine reliability issues. The AWD system, which was supposed to give the car an edge, frequently failed, leaving owners with expensive repair bills. The worst part: rust. Jaguars are already notorious for rust issues, and the X-Type was no exception. Door sills, wheel arches, and the underside of the car would rot away faster than your trust in its reliability. If you thought maintaining a European luxury car was expensive, the Jaguar X-Type made sure to push your wallet to its absolute limit. Range Rover 2000s models. The car that loves the mechanic more than you. If there's one brand known for making beautiful but horribly unreliable cars, it's Range Rover. The 2000s Range Rovers, especially the 2003 to 2012 models, were some of the worst offenders. While they offered top-tier luxury, off-road capability, and high status, they also delivered a never-ending list of mechanical failures. The biggest culprit: the electronics. Owners frequently experienced touchscreens failing, air suspension collapsing, climate control refusing to work, and dashboard warning lights appearing for no reason. The transmissions were also weak, leading to expensive repairs that could easily cost thousands of dollars. The BMW-sourced engines in early models had timing chain and cooling system failures, while later models with Jaguar engines suffered from oil leaks and overheating. The air suspension system, which provided a smooth ride when working, would inevitably fail, leaving the car sitting on its bump stops like a sad lowrider. Despite all of this, people still love Range Rovers because they look amazing and have unmatched luxury. But unless you have an unlimited repair budget, you might want to avoid owning one. Smart Fortwo. Small car, big problems. The Smart Fortwo was designed to be a cute, compact city car that made parking easy and fuel costs low. But there was one problem: it was horrendously unreliable. While you'd think a car this tiny would be simple and cheap to maintain, the Fortwo suffered from one of the worst automatic transmissions ever made. Shifts were jerky, unresponsive, and painfully slow, making the driving experience frustrating. The engine was also prone to issues, with frequent timing chain failures, oil leaks, and misfires. And since the engine was located in the rear, repairs were more complicated and expensive than they should have been. The Fortwo was also incredibly fragile. Owners reported electrical failures, weak suspension components, and cheap interior materials falling apart. It might have been fun to drive in tight city streets, but long-term ownership was nothing short of a financial disaster. Chevrolet Aveo, the budget car that couldn't keep it together. The Chevrolet Aveo was marketed as an affordable, fuel-efficient subcompact car, but in reality, it was one of the worst-built vehicles of its time. Sold in various markets between 2002 and 2011, the Aveo was cheap to buy, but expensive to own due to its constant mechanical failures and abysmal reliability. One of the biggest problems with the Aveo was its terrible engine durability. The 1.6-liter four-cylinder might have been fuel-efficient, but it was plagued by timing belt failures. If the belt snapped, a common issue, the engine would suffer catastrophic damage, often requiring a full rebuild or replacement. The cooling system was also weak, leading to frequent overheating issues that could warp the cylinder head. These cars will drain your wallet and sanity. Cars should be reliable, enjoyable, and stress-free, but these models did the exact opposite. Whether it's constant engine failures, terrible electronics, or ridiculously expensive repairs, these cars proved that cutting corners in manufacturing leads to nothing but headaches. So, what do you think? Have you ever owned a car that constantly broke down? Or maybe you have a horror story about a vehicle that made you swear off a brand forever. Drop your worst car experiences in the comments below, and let's hear about the biggest automotive nightmares.